Alright, so we have the function f of x equals 2x plus 3. And let's say we have to find the inverse function of this. So this can also be rewritten as y equals 2x plus 3 because f of x equals y. So if we were to find the inverse, we would just swap these two variables. So instead of y equals 2x plus 3, this would become x equals 2y plus 3. But we can't keep this because we have to isolate y. We have to solve for y. So all we have to do is subtract 3 on both sides. And then divide by 2 on both sides. Then we get, and the notation for inverse is f of negative 1 x equals x minus 3 over 2. And that's the inverse function of f of x equals 2x plus 3. Okay, let's solve this next question. So we're given that f of x equals x minus 4 squared plus 3, and they want us to find inverse of f of x. So once again, this can be rewritten as y equals x minus 4 squared plus 3. And if we swap these two variables, then we get x equals y minus 4 squared plus 3. And now we subtract 3 on both sides. And we get x minus 3 equals y minus 4 squared. And then now we can square root both sides. And we end up with square root x minus 3 equals y minus 4. And then we can add 4 on both sides. And then we get inverse of f of x equals 4 plus square root of x minus 3. And that's the answer. And also, you have to remember that since this is square root, the value of x has to be equal to or greater than 3, because anything less than that will give you a negative square root, and you can't have that because then you get imaginary numbers. Alright, so this next question gives us two functions, f of x equals 2x minus 3, and g of x equals x squared plus 2. And they're asking us to find f of g of x. So this notation here is nothing but f of g of x. So basically what they're saying here is if we were to put g of x as x, this is how it would look like. So we have f of g of x equals, and then now since g of x is our new x, we can put that in here. 2 times, and what is g of x? G of x is x squared plus 2. So 2 times x squared plus 2 minus 3. And that gives us 2x squared plus, and then 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 minus 3 is 1. So 2x squared plus 1 is f of g of x. Okay, so the next part of this question is instead of finding f of g of x, this time we're finding the other way around. We're finding g of f of x. So this can be written as g of f of x. So if we put that here, we have g of f of x equals, and since f of x equals 2x minus 3, we can put that as x. So we get 2x minus 3 squared plus 2. And if we expand 2x minus 3, we get 4x squared minus 12x, and then plus 9. And then there's also plus 2 here. So we can't forget about that. And this turns out to be 4x squared minus 12x plus 11, because 9 plus 2. And then and we can say this equals g of f of x, right there. Okay, so the next problem gives us f of x equals x plus 5 over 6, and then they also give us g of x equals 12x plus 7, and they ask us to find g of f of x. So once again, this can be rewritten as g of f of x. And here, if we do g of f of x, this is going to equal, so we have to plug in x plus 5 over 6 into x here. So we get 12 times x plus 5 over 6 plus 7. And then this is going to be 12x plus 5 times 12 is 60 divided by 6 plus 7, which equals 2x plus, and then 60 divided by 6 is 10, plus 7 is 17. So this is g of f of x. Okay, so the part B of question 3 says that given g, the inverse of g of f of x or inverse of g of f of a equals -3, we have to find a. And from part A, we know that g of f of x equals 2x plus 17. And since the inverse is just the x and y swapped, so we can just say that g of f of x equals, let's just say y. So then the inverse would be g of f of -1, the inverse, y equals x. So we can do the same thing here. So since the inverse of a equals -3, we can just write this as g of f, and then we can say -3 equals a. So now this becomes a lot simpler. All we have to do is plug in -3 into this equation, because from here all we did was swap. Let's just say a is x and y is -3. All we did was swap the x and y's. So this became the new x and this became the new y. So all we have to do is solve for a. So if we plug in -3 into 2x plus 17, we get 2 times -3 plus 17 equals, and then 2 times -3 is -6 plus 17 equals a. So then a equals 11.